So welcome to those of you who are tuning in. My name is Alison Feigh. I serve as the director of Jacob Wetterling Resource Center, a program of Zero Abuse Project. We're doing a series this year of conversations with folks in Minnesota who work with victims of crime so that people know what services are available out there. And I want to introduce you to my two guests today, but I'll actually let them introduce themselves. Would you two mind telling us who you are and about a little bit about SRRRMN, the agency that you represent?
My name is Ken Anderson. I'm the current president of Search, Rescue, and Recovery Resources of Minnesota. We've been in existence for about 20 years now, and we are an organization of organizations. So it's being able to pull together search and rescue coordinated resources from across the region, not just Minnesota, that specialize or consistently participate in searching for persons, whether it's from a county level, a state level, or a volunteer organization level. Jeff Hasse is a former president of this organization and he and I are both founding members of it, and Jeff can explain further.
Yeah, so my name is Jeff Hasse, and I'm president of Midwest Technical Rescue Training Associates, and as I said, a former president of SRRRMN and a member organization of SRRRMN.
And we have been very blessed to work with you all for, I think, almost 20 years. When I look at the history of us using you as a resource for families, can you tell us a little bit about what SRRRMN does?
Yeah, SRRRMN is really an organization of organizations. So something of a statewide umbrella organizations for groups that do search, rescue, and recovery services. And SRRRMN itself is not an operational group, but kind of a clearinghouse of information. We work on training standards. We work on there's a lot of cross training between the organizations.
Why was there a need in Minnesota for SRRRMN?
Ken and I go back doing search and rescue well over 30 years. And for a long time, we would watch these searches and we'd see ground pounders show up and search an area. Then the posses would show up and they would search the exact same area. And then the dogs would come and search the exact same area. And there's absolutely no coordination between them. And as we started to know these resources a little better, I very distinctly remember a search where I looked at the person in charge of the mounted crew and the dog teams, and I said, hey, how about we put the horses in the grass where they have a distinct advantage, and let's put the dogs in the woods where they have a distinct advantage. And they kind of looked at me, blinked a couple times, and went, yeah, okay. And it's like, we can do better. Got resources at the table, and we've been sort of hashing out how do we do this better ever since.
How would a victim of crime be able to access your resources? Sometimes we get calls from families who have a missing loved one and need search and rescue services. How would they do that? Is that through law enforcement? What steps would they take?
We're accessible through a number of different avenues. We most readily will work with law enforcement agencies. We prefer to work directly with them. And in fact, in Minnesota, law enforcement agencies have, jurisdictional authority over missing person cases. So we will work for law enforcement. But if we're contacted by a family, we're also happy to speak with them. We will work with families, but for law enforcement.
How could people get involved if they were interested, if they, for example, have a drone or something like that, they have some search and rescue resources and they want to be connected to this organization of organizations? How would they get connected?
Probably the first step I would recommend is seeking out SRRRMN.org, our website, and that's SRRRMN.org. And there they can contact. There is a direct call number or email that typically would go to Ken for services. And then we would recommend that they join SRRRMN. Individuals can join SRRRMN as well. And in doing so, they get access to all these other groups and they get to know where their skills might and their interests might lie. and then they can join a member organization, and also they can contribute.
Because the work that you do, victim families don't pay you for the work that you do traditionally, correct?
No, it's pretty much all volunteer services. The notion of a fee for service in a missing person search is really problematic. So nobody does it.
Is there anything that I didn't ask you that you think would be important for people to know about the amazing work that y'all do?
Yeah, if you're interested, seek out the training. We see these scenes, these searches come up on the news all the time, and people want to help. And the problem with large numbers of untrained resources is that they tend to obliterate evidence on a scene because they're looking for just one subject, when there's one subject with 1,000 clues, and we want clue conscious trained searchers. So that's why we recommend getting involved with an organization, get the training, and become one of the valuable resources out there.
There's also, if there's particular skill sets, because in the search and rescue community, oftentimes people think, well, I need to have the mounted, or I need canines, or I need the ground searchers. But to effectively get those resources out there, we need communications. We need people who can understand how to effectively process cartography, how to deal with the current technologies that are out there that we use for not only tracking the resources live in the field and or tracking where they have been with high accuracy, so that we can utilize that back to the agency that we're working for to give high resolution details as to where people have actually been, whether it's for a criminal case or whether it's for a missing person case. All of those have to have enough resolution to be able to effectively say, this area we can identify as being well searched. Now we need to move those resources on. But to do that, we need to have additional resources to help us make sure that we have all that data. So it isn't just the people in the field, it's also the people who are in the background making things work, whether it's people at the staging area keeping track of where all the individual groups are, being able to identify, well, what radio frequencies does each particular group have, get those to the communications people so that we can effectively do this quickly without having to stumble over and find out, oh, they're on one frequency and we're on a different one, but we thought we had the same one, kind of a thing. It takes those people to help us to make group resources effective when we work together.
And I just want to thank you both, because as I've said, we've used you as a referral agency for over 20 years, and the heart that you have for victims and for searching families. Anytime we call and have a conversation, you're always aware of the emotional aspect, the what we can be doing to help make sure that people get what they need, not just when it comes to drones and maps and horses and the tracking, all the things that you're very good at, but just the seeing people as people, and that's just huge, and we're really thankful for you and for your work. So thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.